Welcome back to Fast Money. Check out the cruise line sinking in today's session, and there could be some new trouble on the high seas. You're looking at pictures of the Sea Dream 1. It is the first cruise ship to set sail in the Caribbean since the pandemic began. A passenger on board reportedly infected with the coronavirus. It left Barbados Saturday carrying 53 people. NBC's Kerry Sanders spoke with one of those passengers about the safety measures the ship was taking to prevent an outbreak.
Every passenger had to be tested before even flying to Barbados, where the cruise started, and getting on the ship within 3 days, and then tested again at the pier.
He went on to say passengers were not required to wear a mask on board until 2 days into the trip. This is a smaller cruise line, as we had mentioned. This is not a publicly traded one. But for anybody who's thinking about a cruise, they're going to say, take a look at that Sea Dream 1 that went off, and there is one COVID case on it, Pete.
Yeah, not good. Well, Mel, this is something we've been grappling with this for a really long period of time, right? I mean, the whole idea, it used to be airplanes, then people started to get eased back into that, and it seems like we are starting to hit numbers again that are at least tolerable. But with the cruise ships, yeah, this is something that's been going on, and people are all betting on something that's going to be very, very positive from a vaccine perspective. But wow, this is certainly something that's not very pleasing for, I think, the rest of the big publicly traded companies.
Yeah, it's a publicity disaster for the cruise industry, Guy. And putting aside the fact that you would not be caught dead on a cruise. Let's put that aside. Unbiased opinion on the cruise lines, because it is viewed as, I mean, these stocks are viewed as the ultimate vaccine play, right?
Yeah, and Karen has talked about this a number of times. The way to play a potential vaccine, or what seemingly is going to be a vaccine in the summer, is vis-a-vis the cruise lines, not the pharmaceuticals. And she's 100% right. But I think what she would also say is going to be huge volatility from here to now. We mentioned the Jimmy Cliff song the other day. I won't do it again. But I just want to point out, I actually saw this Love Boat episode a few months ago where I think Gopher talks to Captain Steubing about this. So it's amazing how art is imitating life, or vice versa, Mel. It's fascinating to me.
I just find it shocking there was only one person. I mean, I think it's going to get worse, would be my strong guess on this. So if you were to be caught dead on a cruise, and you got to be careful about saying that now, I guess, given the environment that we're in, I think that you got to look to delay it post-vaccine, which is obviously very bad for the cruise lines, but they do have some cash to survive.
All right, here's another story that we're tracking for you tonight on the outbreak. A research team at Deutsche Bank is proposing a 5% tax on people who want to continue to work from home post-pandemic. Researchers justify the tax because those working from home are saving money on things like commutes, eating out, work clothes, dry cleaning. They are contributing less to the economies of the cities they work in. They say tax proceeds could reach about $48 billion a year in the U.S. and could help subsidize those who cannot work from home or those making less because of COVID. Tim, when we were discussing this on our midday call, you're the one who came up with, what was it, WFH, WTF?
The W. Yeah, well, that is my response, and this is a family show, so let's just use those initials and people know what they stand for. This is outrageous, and you know, talk about first of all, this is a Marxist assessment of how people should react to changing conditions, but also, hey, how about a reallocation of wealth from the commercial real estate industry? Like I'm paying $20 for a cheeseburger at lunch when I work in an office because the office spaces are so expensive that someone else is making money on. So this whole thing is so absurd. The fact that we could be living cheaper and reallocating our monthly wallet in a different capacity and actually not having to spend, I mean, how about a $20 cab ride or a subway ride in infrastructure that isn't supported anyway by the government? Don't get me started. I mean, this is outrageous, and I realize Deutsche Bank is a European bank, and so maybe some of this is the guaranteed income dynamic at work here, but I think this is an awful idea. Sorry.
I was wondering when somebody was going to bring up Deutsche Bank being a European bank, and no surprise it's coming from a European bank. Guy, you know, it's interesting because companies have already said that they're going to reduce their, some of the companies are going to reduce their footprint in terms of real estate. They're going to reduce salaries for workers who do choose to work at home. The cost savings are not only borne by the workers. I mean, if you are going to start thinking about taxing somebody for saving money, it's not just the workers here, for sure.
Yeah, proper decorum prohibits me from using the words I would like to use to describe Deutsche Bank's idea. I think you can understand it, and you actually mentioned a few in the opening monologue, which I actually was amazed by that you actually used the initials. But with that said, I mean, maybe Deutsche Bank should take into consideration the lack of traffic on our roads and the lack of stress it's going to put on our infrastructure. Maybe I should get a rebate because I'm not going in and out of the Lincoln Tunnel every day. Or maybe Deutsche Bank should just focus on Deutsche Bank. And but for this story, we wouldn't be talking about Deutsche Bank. So maybe that was their end goal at the end of the day anyway.
Free publicity for Deutsche Bank, albeit negative. I guess all publicity is good publicity. Karen, what do you think? This would be a way of raising money. I mean, it's not just in the U.S. Deutsche Bank also says that it would raise 15.9 billion euros in Germany, 6.9 billion pounds in the U.K. I mean, this could be a massive sort of redistribution of wealth globally.
Yeah, I'm actually not opposed to the idea. Don't tell my husband I said that. I probably wouldn't agree. But I do feel like we're in a, unique spot, a lucky spot to be able to work remotely, and there are others who can't. And I think that it would have to be, though, for a very limited amount of time, not one of those open-end, we'll put a tax on and we'll never take it off. That's part of the reason I think people don't like new taxes, because that happens a lot. The other thing about it, though, I think it would be very hard to enforce. What if you come in? What if you need to come in for some amount of time? How do you adjust that? I don't know. But conceptually, I'm actually not opposed to it, and I don't normally love taxes.
The faces on the other traders, they look appalled, Karen. Just appalled.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
I'm proud of
Sorry.
her. I'm proud of her. She's a nice woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.